was born as a normal baby. I lived as a normal baby up to year 5 when I was attacked by polio. I continued being very weak until I could not even sit upright. I was completely unable to walk. Challenge comes when I want to reach my workplace because I have to rely on public means, because when there's rush, you don't get opportunity to get into the vehicle quickly. Okay, most of the conductors in the public transport don't have time. The major challenge comes in when I'm trying to cross the road. I've already reached Westlands and I've alighted. I want to now cross to my office. Not many motorists will understand you.
The bank has globally a diversity and inclusion agenda that has worked through. We have an Africa diversity and inclusion agenda, and now what we're launching today is really what we're going to focus on as the going forward Kenya diversity and inclusion agenda. And it's vitally important that this is something which makes good business sense and makes for an optimal working culture. Kenya, we have 4 key pillars. The 2 areas which I think we will have immediate priority would be the gender one and the disability one. Those would be the ones we'll focus in the short run. Doesn't mean we are not going to have plans on the others, but you'll probably see more traction in the short run on those 2 areas.
If we want disability as a core pillar, we have to be honest, where are we starting from? Our reality is we are starting from a low base. So what do we need to do? We recognize the investments. We recognize the resourcing. We recognize the awareness, and then get the partners across the bank.
We've set quite clear targets, which are we need to hire people who have got physical challenges and integrate them into our workforce, because I believe they will be able to contribute as well as anybody without those challenges.
We normally think, okay, this person will require too much help, too much support. Do I have that time? I just want to bring in somebody who will hit the road running and quickly deliver results. If I have to handhold you, you're holding me back. And that is something we need to change. It's a mindset. Right now we have only 4 people with disability in the business. We already have set plans in terms of what we can do to actually increase that number. We also want to make sure we're putting them in a job that they can actually perform and excel.
I appreciate this job because the Barclays has made life easier for a person with a physical challenge just like me to work here compared to where I was earlier, where I used to work standing. Work was quite difficult for me because most of the time I used to move around. Mobility was difficult.
My first week at Barclays, it has been really exciting and overwhelming at the same time because I had never imagined I'll be in such a big brand like Barclays.
Barclays has policies that caters for people with physical challenges or any other kind of a challenge. For example, the policies against discrimination or harassment. It's advises, it's warning the staff, the fellow colleagues not to harass people, to discriminate in any way.
I was employed in Barclays in 2008 at Barclays Moy Avenue. We've worked there with colleagues, and that part of disability cannot be evident because you will find colleagues who are very supportive.
I was born with a slight disability, lack of a right arm. I just had to adapt to the environment. And that is what most PWDs will actually do. They adapt to the environment. There's people who have approached me and they've told me that they don't see any disability, and that is how comfortable Barclays has made me so far.
I'm trying to prove to the world that I can make it. So always I try my best, and I encourage you, any organization, give people with disability a chance. Just look at your organization. How many people with disability have you employed? Start from there. contact universities, ask them how many people with disabilities do you have in your institution, to accept their CVs. When they finish, let that person be trained in your organization, see if he can achieve or he can work. You will have done a lot in the country.
These are people with papers. It's only the challenge is the environment is not friendly. And what the bank is thinking about making the environment friendly in terms of the buildings and the structures and the infrastructure, that is a very nice idea. And I think we should grow with that.
We're spending tens of millions making our network easy to access. We're talking about things like, are our ATMs suitably positioned that somebody in a wheelchair can easily access and use those ATMs? So we're going to actually probably look at being creative and saying people with different challenges, how would they integrate with us as a bank? What services can we provide them?
So far now, out of about 110 branch outlets, we have done 55, and work is in progress. We have stage 2 of the business case, which will take care of the remaining branches. For instance, if my colleague Joe Apungu, who's a star performer, applied for an internal job application and got a position to go to, say, Barclays Nyeri, and it's not fitted for a person with disability, we're actually discriminating against it.
What I like about Barclays, the infrastructure is very user-friendly in terms of when it comes to persons with disability. Given that I'm using crutches to walk as a walking aid, it hasn't been a challenge at all, because the accessibility to the building, of course, there are lifts to go to every floor, and then of course there's a ramp down there. So I'm very comfortable with stairs, but given that there will be someone on a wheelchair that would want to access the building, it will be very friendly.
About the toilets, the infirm washrooms, they are there. They have been provided. They have a wider door and it's spacious. They are kept clean. Apart from the amenities and the washrooms, the parking has been provided for me near the entrance. So it's not on the basement, right? It could be far for me to get into the building.
When it comes to banking services, most people will always use ATMs, but are all ATMs accessible?
If we could develop products for people with disabilities, if we could develop platforms for PWDs to have their voices, maybe support them in maybe running businesses, and that would help alleviate the poverty levels, especially among the PWDs.
So Joe Apungu and my colleagues, David and Munyo Akahiu and Bushuri, whom we are within Barclays, should have the same opportunities that I have.
Our work is just that. Keep the bank honest, keep the bank focused, and keep D&I at the front of our minds as a bank.
We're committed to this. We have senior leaders at this. I think we can own this space and we can make our difference, which comes back to, again, making this work environment in this country a better place to live and work, where we recognize and bring the best out of our diversity and include people in helping us achieve Magic 15.
The only disability in life that I know is the worst of them all is a negative attitude, a bad attitude that could simply ruin you. So whether you're able-bodied or you're able differently, just have this positive frame of mind, keep a very positive attitude, and you'll excel, you'll go places.